Hi, everyone. Dorothea Hendriks here, your coach in presentation skills and in public speaking. My guest today is a dear friend. My guest is Karen Laskey, who is a master therapeutic counselor and clinical hypnotherapist. Her dream is for everyone to know unconditional love of themselves. She knows what it's like to feel lost and trapped in your own life. Now she dedicates her life to helping others find the answers they need to live life to the fullest. She integrates counseling and hypnotherapy, drawing on all her skills and inner resources to best serve her clients' needs. She has been working with clients for over 24 years on whatever level works best for them. From the beginner looking for help for the very first time to the seasoned inner journeyer working on personal growth. Helping others is her passion and her purpose. Welcome, Karen. So nice to see you through the little camera.
Yeah, thank you, Dorothea. It's really lovely to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I want people to know, because you and I, we've met and we visited as friends and also as clients, but want others to know about hypnotherapy. So I'm going to ask you some questions. And the very first one is, what is a therapeutic counselor and a hypnotherapist? Like, what is it that you do?
Yeah, yes. A therapeutic counselor is someone, myself, who works with people to help them in their emotional and mental and even spiritual states. And the hypnotherapy piece is a tool that I use in that therapeutic practice. So it helps to go into the unconscious so we can access all of the resources within you, so that we can go deeper and accelerate growth, right? Like we have all the answers inside of us, right? They're all right there, but we can't access them because we have a critical mind that gets in the way. And so hypnotherapy is just putting you into a relaxed state so the critical mind can just step aside and we have access to all of you.
No, so that brings me up to another question. There are so many techniques out there available for personal growth, helping us overcome anxieties, fears, be better tomorrow than we are today. But what makes hypnotherapy, what sets it apart from some of the others?
Well, some of the others, you can get into the unconscious, like you can get into the unconscious through self-inquiry, deep emotion, um, body-centered therapy, focusing. Those are ways to get into the unconscious. The difference with hypnotherapy is that I can facilitate that process for you to get you into your unconscious just more easily. Really, that's all it is, right?
Eh,
And you have a little bit of a distance from whatever intense emotion you might feel, right? So instead of going back into a trauma to process a trauma, like you can have a little bit of a filter. So you can process the trauma, but with a little distance.
is that helpful for a lot more people to have that distance?
Yes, especially for very high emotional states. It definitely is.
Mhm.
Yes.
Can people be hypnotized? There still is some apprehension and fear, I imagine, even now, around the whole idea of hypnosis, because we see these people, these TV programs or
I know.
internet where somebody gets hypnotized to be like a chicken, right? Can people be hypnotized against their will?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So when you see someone on stage doing things, it's because they really want to be doing them. They've let go enough, like they're on stage in the first place, so they're willing to do that, right? And then they are willing to let go and just do whatever is suggested to them because they just want the experience, right? So no, you cannot put someone in hypnosis that doesn't want to be put in hypnosis. That you just can't.
So these people basically want to get on stage, and the process of being hypnotized is actually real. It's not like it's a fake uh,
Yeah,
situation. They actually are being hypnotized,
absolutely.
right? But they want the stage time, and they're
Yep.
willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, there probably have some inner, part of them that just, we all have, I think, part of us that just wants to be out there and free and seen and doesn't matter how. And so this way, we can let down all of, all of our consciousness and our self-consciousness and let ourselves go and be free. It sounds like a really wonderful idea. I personally would never want to do it, but but I certainly understand people who
Oh,
would want to just get on stage, let go and have fun. Yeah.
no. Inhibition free, inhibition.
Inhibition, that's the word. Yes.
When I explored your website, and you have a beautiful website, I
Okay.
love your website. But on your website, you mentioned at one point or somewhere it's written that there was a time when you felt lost and trapped in your life. And I know in conversations, you had some very difficult times in your life many, many years ago when you were still relatively young. Not
Mhm.
that you're not young now, but
No, 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 many,
and
many years ago now.
and so that brings me to three questions.
Sure.
You mentioned that in that you changed. And so what made you realize when you were going through those difficult times, number one, what made you realize that you could change? How did you facilitate that change? And was hypnosis part of that process at that time?
Mm, good question. So first, what was your first part of that question?
Well, what made you realize you could
Oh,
change?
what? Well, I wasn't happy, right? I just was not happy, right? I was on the bus going to where I work downtown in an office. I loved my job. That was not the problem, but I just wasn't happy. And I was in a horrible marriage, and I was 30 something, early 30s, and thinking, really, this is going to be the rest of my life? No, I can't have that. And so I just took a leap of faith, really, right? First of all, just a leap of faith. And I heard a little inner voice actually say to me, like, I thought, wow, how am I going to do this? And I heard a little voice say to me, Karen, remember your spirit. Remember your spirit, right? So because I always had, always had a yearning or I was always seeking, for spirituality, always, ever since I was a child. So I just remembered that I had a resource in me, in other words, right? I remembered I had a resource in me, and I took a leap of faith and I left my bad marriage. I started meditating. I started therapy. I thought, well, I need help, and because I don't know how to do this. And so I started doing meditation classes. I started looking for a teacher. I started therapy. And it was during my seeking, I think through the meditations and through my starting spiritual practice again, and through the therapy, my own therapy, that I knew it was possible to change. I could feel it within me. And so I took another leap of faith and quit my job and went and worked on cruise ships for a while till I figured out what I wanted to do. And then that's what brought me to be a therapist, because I had some pretty good therapy. Hypnosis was not a part of it yet. It wasn't till I actually did my counseling program that my teacher was also a hypnotherapist and a counselor, and he brought in some hypnotherapy into those teachings. And that's when I saw the benefit of going so deep and really being able to really access the wounded parts in me that needed some TLC.
Mhm. So
Yeah,
did you undergo hypnotherapy? Where you,
yes.
yes, you did.
I
So you,
have
yes, so
many
you
times.
practiced it yourself.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's interesting, the reason I ask that is that there are people who are unhappy. There are people who have a lot of problems, but they never seem to get out of them. They spend their life in them. And I often wonder, what is that pivotal moment in some people that actually opens the door to change? You heard a voice, there was something inside of you. Do these other people not have voices? What is it that actually moves some people forward and some people never open the door?
Well, that's a really good question. I'm not quite sure on that. I mean, certainly there comes a point, I think we all come to a rock bottom, and the rock bottom is so different for everyone. It can be, you have a sudden change in your life that might bring it. You finally just say, I can't live like this anymore. or you have something speaks to you in your world, and then you take a step toward help. For those that don't take that step towards help, I'm not sure what stops them. I don't know if it's they're just not hearing. They're so deep in the woundedness that they just can't
So,
even see a glimmer out.
yeah, it's maybe so that they're almost locked into it, and sometimes there's just a fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's petrified. Better the devil you know, so to speak,
Oh, for sure. That's
than
definitely a
than the
piece.
devil you don't.
Yeah.
So, when you decided to, open your business as a counselor and as a hypnotherapist, there were times where hypnotherapy was still like relatively new. And I think when you did yours, it wasn't all that common where people raced off to have hypnosis done
No.
to help them move through something. So, how did you start your business? How did you get your clients in?
Well, I just advertised really, right? And I just did a lot of networking. So I got out there a lot to explain who I am and what I do and how I do it. And hypnotherapy was a piece of that. And I did public speaking. I did some public speaking engagements as well. Terrified, but I wanted to take the risk, another risk, right? Like, I think if you're going to be on a healing journey, you got to be a risk taker of some kind. And and people just needed help. I really found, like, for the most part, people just wanted help and they didn't really care how. Hypnotherapy, no hypnotherapy, I don't care, just help me.
Hmm. So it wasn't as if you had a lot of people poking holes into, oh, hypnosis, hypnotherapy. Oh, it's just if it can help me, I'm game.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, I never, I mean, some clients come in and go, no, I don't want hypnosis. I just want to do counseling, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. There's other, as I said, there's other ways to get into the unconscious, right? There's through the body and through emotion. Just it's just a little more challenging. It can take a little longer.
Have you ever had someone that you can't hypnotize? What have you
No,
done? Yeah.
no, because they're there because they're willing. And
Yes.
hypnosis really is self-hypnosis. Like, when someone comes to me and they want to have the hypnotherapy piece, they are allowing me and letting go. And so they're allowing the process to happen. It can be difficult for people who are highly need to be in control. Like, it's not to say that I haven't had challenges, for sure, helping people to let go, to go into the unconscious state. And it's, when I say unconscious, it's just really an altered state. It's a relaxed state. Hypnosis is so natural, right? I'm sure we've all had lapses of time, right? Whether we're intently focused, we're driving, we're walking, whatever. And that's hypnosis, basically, lapses of time. Although when I'm doing hypnosis with you, there's two ways we do that. It's just putting you into the relaxed state and just giving you many wonderful suggestions, right? Of confidence, esteem, or whatever it is that you're needing. And you may feel like you drift away in those moments, but in the other way we do it is through regression work or parts therapy, which is just putting you into the relaxed state, which is hypnosis, so that your inhibitions and your critical mind is out of the way. And then we can bring up the wounded parts of you, or we can go back in time to a child time when you are really holding on to wound from the child, and we can rework it.
Mm.
So yes, everyone is hypnotizable, and no, I've not had anyone not go into hypnosis.
Mm. What has been your biggest learning as a counselor and hypnotherapist? Like, I know you had your issues probably when you were in counseling. You met other people who had issues, you dealt with people. What has been your biggest learning about dealing with people as a therapist, as a hypnotherapist?
Mhm.
Or maybe there isn't one, maybe there are a number
Well,
of.
there are many, but I would have to say, people are miraculous. They really are. And they can heal from the deepest wounds. You may not, I mean, if you've had, I mean, I don't even want to name the tragedy that might be so horrific, you can't even imagine it. So you may not be able to live a life that is like, your person next door that grew up with no pain and kind of, had a good life. But everybody, unless you have severe mental health issues, that's a different piece, right? That's something that I don't even work with. But what I've learned, that everybody can come to a place of loving themselves, right? Everybody's capable, no matter how wounded, right? We are capable of it. We are miraculous beings, and we can heal.
You find that is one of the biggest issues. I don't know if issues is even the right word when it comes to people, is not loving themselves, not accepting themselves.
Yeah.
And it
That's at the
sounds,
root. That's the root of it, all of it, really, right? That's at the
Mhm,
root
mhm.
of all of it, right? Because we get conditioned as children. So whatever we decide is true because we are hearing things from our adults in our life, and parents do the best they can, but they can say things off the cuff, or that we just might interpret as children, meaning we're not good enough, or we're and so then we just take that into our adulthood, and that belief that I'm just not good enough, so I won't accept myself as I am. I need to be different so that I can be good enough, and I need to be different so I can be lovable. And that's really the heartbreaking piece, right? But that's it's human condition.
Human condition, which goes back to the introduction about your goal, really wanting people to know that there is self-love, that they can love themselves because
It's
they're
possible.
lovable. Yeah.
Yes, I've done it. It's possible. It is possible. And it's a freedom like you can't even imagine.
So you've done that yourself.
Yes, I've come from deep shame, self-hatred, woundedness, trauma, to a place now in my life where I am completely okay with myself. And I love myself. I really do. I love myself like as I love anyone else in my life. And I don't self-judge anymore. I make mistakes, and I can do things that I'm like, oh, that could have been done a little better, Karen, right? But there's no judgment. It's just like, okay, what was I doing then? Where did that come from? Because we're all just doing the best we can. I absolutely believe that. We're all just doing the best we can, and that includes me,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting when we think about judgment and how we feel about ourselves, because invariably so many people go, "Oh, I was so stupid. What an idiot I was for doing that." And even though we may say it flippantly or laugh about it, it actually gets settled somewhere in our conscious, in our mind, doesn't it? And if we
Mm-hmm.
say it enough, it actually becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think also when we're on a healing journey, as we heal and become more self-accepting, we attract people in our lives that will reflect that back to us too, because
Mhm.
we do need to have it reflected back to us. We can't do this in a vacuum. This thing about I need to love myself because then I can't love anybody else. So although it may be true, we need to be loved first. We can't love ourselves if no one loves us, right? Like we really need to have unconditional love to learn how to do that. So I think when we're on a healing journey and we start to love others without any catch and learn to accept others as they are, they reflect back to us our own self-love and self-acceptance.
Mm. What
That
are
makes
some,
sense?
yeah, and I can see that makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense to me. And it sounds reasonable because in a way you have to have an example of something to be able to do something because it's through our experience that we learn, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And so when it comes to that, some of these challenges that people experience that they have to go through, like even developing a self-love, and the counseling that you've done, what are some of the fears and the anxieties you've helped clients move through, you've helped them overcome. I coach in public speaking, and I know you and I have
Mhm.
talked about public speaking, and you've done public speaking. Have you had people where you've helped them with stage fright, public speaking, or what are some of the other stressors and anxieties?
Yeah, not that particular one. Certainly feeling more confident in their role at work or speaking up to a person that they feel, afraid of. Family is a big one, right? Learning to speak up to family, learning to speak up to a spouse, to start to speak your needs, ask for what you want, set a boundary. Because that's hard. Those are really hard things to do, right? Like, this is really hard work. I'm saying it's possible, but I'm not, that doesn't mean it isn't hard work, right? This is not an easy journey because we have to really face those fears, right? But
Mhm.
part of the role of any therapist is also to reflect back to the client, the things that I was just saying to you, the love and respect and honor that you have for your client is to reflect that back to them as well.
I know like I have, to everybody out there, I've actually gone to Karen when I needed help setting boundaries.
Yeah.
And because and you're absolutely correct. I mean, setting boundaries is is a really, really hard, especially when you're dealing with family members where they are accustomed to you acting and reacting a certain way.
Mhm.
And then you trying to establish a different rule or different step on step and different ground. It's hard.
Yeah, because the core fear there is that we're going to be abandoned,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
left.
Yeah. And so, I mean, to anyone, who has to or is thinking about establishing boundaries, doing something in a different way, and that support makes a big difference. And the hypnosis actually really helps, right?
Yes, because we can
And
go back and to see what is preventing, where is the fear really coming from? And we can also go into the future with hypnotherapy too, right? And you can imagine yourself being on stage, taking that driving test, talking to the person that's really hard to talk to. We can go to the future as well.
which
So
actually helps in goal setting, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I've been doing a lot more reading on goal setting and how it's really important to have something specific in mind. And then what you do is you set it, you believe that you can do it, you image it. And I have found for myself, sometimes I have trouble imaging, but I found doing hypnosis really helped with the imaging, helped so much more than me trying at home all by myself. And some people are very good at imaging. I am not one of them, right?
Mhm.
It's a bit more challenging for me, but I found the hypnosis really worked wonderfully well. As a hypnotherapist, what are some of the benefits? I mean, not saying that, it's the only thing because there are so many different types of therapy, so many different types of techniques. But what would you say are the three overarching benefits of of hypnosis?
Well, I think one of the benefits is that what I already mentioned is that you can have a distance if you're visiting something very painful, can have a bit of a distance. That's especially beneficial when healing trauma. So that's one of the pieces. I think the other is, yeah, imprinting, right? So we imprint like that, what we just talked about, future imprinting, because the subconscious mind doesn't know past, present, or future. This is why it holds on to childhood pain or trauma. So we can go in and create that future. And as far as the subconscious is concerned, that's a memory. So you've already done it. So there's that. And so you said three overarching benefits.
Well, it could be two. It's just it was a
Yeah,
number,
it's
yeah.
just easy. It's just, yeah, I think it just makes the hard work a little bit easier, right? Because you're accessing all of you and you're getting support to do that. Like I'm really guiding you, right? Really guiding you.
Yeah, it's the guiding that helps, because when you go into hypnosis, as you say, there's all kinds of stuff there. And sometimes you're just working on a particular issue because there are more issues at play.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's
And the
very,
guide, yes.
yes, it's very directional,
Yeah.
versus talk therapy, or focusing where you're doing most of the work and the therapist is supporting you. Hypnotherapy is I'm very directive, because I have to be there to really say, okay, well, how about going here? How about going there? How about going here? Why don't we go there? Right? So you're following your inner self, but I'm helping you to choose the path,
Right.
rather than you just going, okay, where do I go now? Right.
Which is probably what I would do if I was by myself. Uh,
Yeah.
what prompted you? I mean, we all have issues. You resolved some of your issues. You went to counseling. What prompted you to become a counselor? Because that's a big step. I mean, a lot of people go to counseling, but then to turn around and be a counselor yourself, what
Hmm.
was it that motivated you to do that?
Oh, I think I just wanted to help people. I just wanted to help people. And I believe, I always was someone that could mediate. It just was a natural thing for me to help people mediate between them. Um, I love people. I want them to do their best, right? And if I can have any part in that, and I just find the mind and the emotions very, very fascinating, very fascinating. So I mean, I think I wanted to be a healer of some kind, because I wanted to help people, but I didn't want to do the physical pieces, right? Like, I mean, I was a fitness center. I was a fitness professional at one time, helping people, get their bodies in shape and stronger. But I really, I just found the inner work so fulfilling and rewarding for myself, that I wanted to help other people be able to experience that kind of inner work and healing.
Mm-hmm.
And
And that
just getting to
was,
know yourself is pretty, to find out how amazing you really are, right?
that sounds wonderful. I think it's great. I mean, not everybody can do that. Not everybody even is inclined. When we all want to feel great and we all want to see other people that we all are amazing, right? And I like that idea, but the idea of me going to be a counselor, just because I think I'd like to be amazing, or, I'd like to help people. I help people in other ways, but yeah, because being a counselor, I find there would be a tremendous amount of responsibility attached to.
Mhm.
I mean, there's responsibility attached to everything, but here you're helping people heal and take on journeys where sometimes they're going where they haven't gone before, and we don't quite know what the end result will be.
Uh, well, that's not entirely true,
Mm,
right? So in the beginning, when I was first a therapist, that was true. And I think part of how I can hold space for a client now, when they're in very deep emotional angst or woundedness or trauma or whatever, is because I do know where they're going to go, right?
mm,
I don't know what it's going to look like for them exactly, but I do know the path to healing, and just for myself, but also in working with clients. So I don't know if that's answering. I mean, you didn't really have a question there, but I don't know if that makes sense. Like, you do the work, you're gonna heal, and with it comes
mhm.
happiness and self-acceptance, and a feeling of fulfillment in life.
Yeah. No,
That's where you're gonna end up.
yeah, and it does, because I said we don't really know where we're going. And then you said, of course, it's not true. And of course not. You're the counselor, right? You're the person that should know in a way where I'm going if I were there.
Yes, but you don't know where you're going. This is completely unknown to you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that somehow I'll get rid of this, but what
Yes.
the end result will be, I'm not quite sure.
Yes.
I'd like to love myself. I'd like to be a wonderful singer. I'd like to be on stage. I'd like to be whatever it is, right? And I've got something holding me back. And so my goal is just, oh, can I get rid of this that's holding me back? Can I diminish that or override it, remove it, do something with it? Right? And so but I'm in the process of discovering.
Exactly. And you said some very, very good words there. I need to diminish it, get rid of it. And actually the path is to accept it and integrate it. Right?
Yes, yeah.
And that's where people get stuck, is because they're trying to cut a part of themselves out rather than bring the part in and really learn what is this part about, right? Because the parts of us that are harming us are really believe they're doing us a benefit, right? It's conditioning from a long time ago, and it's a protection. So if we go into that self and try to figure out what is its need and why is it doing what it's doing, then it doesn't need to do it anymore. And then we can integrate that part. Come to wholeness.
That's interesting because you're talking about, and it's true, people, and I hear this, I've said this myself, I don't want this anymore. I wish I could just get rid of this, not realizing, this sounds hackneyed, but that it's there for a reason.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
that I can never cut it out because it would be like cutting out part of myself.
Yeah, it's not possible, actually.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so that again is something that you do in therapy, in
yeah.
hypnosis. If a person, I know that your roster is pretty full, that you're pretty busy, and don't now you're really not taking on new clients and so forth. So if
Mhm.
somebody came to you and said, "Oh, Karen, I'm really looking for a hypnotherapist," and you can't take that client, what guidance would you give them to go and find a counselor, a hypnotherapist, to make
Mhm.
sure that they are on the right track? Because there are a lot of people out there.
Yeah, there are a lot of people out there. I do have a referral resources that I offer clients of people that I know, that I trust. But I still would say to someone, interview any potential therapist. Well, how do they work? How long have they been working? What do they charge? Where, ask all the questions. How can they help you? And they might, I get the questions of how long is it going to take? And it's like, well, I don't really know, but I can give an estimated guess and, tell people what to expect. And so really ask the questions and trust your own inner self. If you connect with someone, great. And if you don't, carry on to the next one till you do. And some people they might have to go through like 4 or 5 therapists before they find the one that they connect with. And it can, it can seem a little daunting for sure, right?
Mhm.
But that would be I think the biggest advice I could give is, you know, find it. I can give referrals, but it doesn't mean they're going to fit for you, right? It's fine. And I can send you, give you direction, but really trust that you're going to know when the right therapist is in front of you.
And I think asking the questions too that you mentioned, going back, sometimes we don't ask enough questions or we feel embarrassed to ask
Mhm.
questions. Have you had people who feel, well, I can't ask, I just don't know if I should ask?
Yeah, it's
How do
vulnerable. Taking
Yeah,
that first step to ask for help is very vulnerable.
yeah, yeah.
Right. And so it's, I have a lot of people that don't ask anything. They would have just booked off my website. Um, and so then that's my job. If they're booking off my website, I will send an email to introduce myself and start the process rolling. But I will always ask, so what spoke to you about my website? Right? So that I can have an idea of who they are and what they're looking for. Because sometimes people say, well, I just want to lose weight. And I'm like, no, that's not what I do. Here's someone I think that can help you with that, right? Or something, because I don't work in behaviors like that. I'm looking for the people that want to do the deeper healing. And that's really is where I thrive.
So when people ask off your, so that's interesting that you get people actually booking off your website. Do you get a fair number of clients coming, booking off your website? Do you get more people that call?
More people, mostly referrals. So that's one way, right? That's the most probably is through word of mouth, but not a lot of calls, mostly emails or just booking off my website when I was taking new clients. Now I'm not, so my website says I'm not taking clients, so you can't book off my website anymore, but that was mostly the way. Yeah, other than word of mouth.
Your website is an amazing website and gives so much information. It's a helpful website. If you knew somebody wanted to start their own business right now, is doing similar to what you do, being a therapeutic counselor and a hypnotherapist, what advice would you give them as they're starting their business, maybe on their website, maybe their actual business? What advice would you give them, if any?
Uh, get out there, get out there, get out there and network and let people know who you are, where you are, and what you do. That's the most important. You've got to be visible. And just having a website isn't going to be visible enough. You need to actually network and let people know you're there. And I also believe it's an energetic piece too, right? Like even if you're not necessarily getting clients from the people you're networking with, or they're not necessarily going to be your client, they might. You and I met that way. But you're getting your name out there and people are learning about you and the word can spread that way. Like for an example, there was across from my house, there's an apartment building and there was an apartment building for sale. And my husband and I just decided to go over and check it out. And the realtor was asking what our names were. And I told her my name and she says, I've heard of you. Now I had no idea who she was. She goes, oh, I've heard of you. Your name is out there. You're a counselor and hypnotherapist. I said, yeah. So it just goes to show you, right? So you need to get known. And whatever way you can do that, and just going and talking to people, going to networking meetings, it's fun anyway. You get to socialize, but that would be my number one advice. Get out there. You can't just put up a website and wait for people to call you from your website. You have to be much more proactive than that, and get help. You can't do it alone, right? Like I had a business coach. Right? You need help, right? I had somebody help me with my very first website. You need help.
It's really going back to it, making yourself visible.
Yeah,
Everything is visible, which means getting yourself out there. If people can't see you and they don't know you, then it's very difficult for them to even, by luck, they may hit on your website, but it's a long shot, right?
exactly.
So everything is making,
Yeah,
so,
especially if you have a new website, right? Because it's traffic that brings your website up. So if you've
yes,
got no traffic, it's going to be pretty hard to
yeah,
first
yeah.
page.
Regardless of how great it looks. And it's a challenge. I, for one, as much as I work with people, I find it very difficult to get out there and make myself visible. I have to do it, but I find it hard. And so for anyone else, yeah, it's hard, but you have to suck
Oh,
it up and get out there.
you have to suck it up. I remember my first networking meeting. I came home and I'm like, I don't want to do this. How do I say who I am and what I do? I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then I said to myself, well, what's your alternative? Are you going to pack it up? Like, I'm like, no, I've got to learn how to do it. And that's when I got a business coach and she really helped me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do practice self-hypnosis on yourself. Do you recommend that people do self-hypnosis?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's so much free stuff on YouTube too. Like yeah, wherever you can, like if self-hypnosis can be a little bit difficult, but certainly the free stuff you can get on YouTube is great. There's lots on there. So I would suggest people find stuff on there too.
And for what example? Give me an example, Karen.
For anxiety, sleep, driving anxiety, what other things are on there? Past life regressions on there. Um,
So
yes,
would you suggest that people practice some of these techniques that are on YouTube then, as opposed to coming in for counseling?
that's a good start. it's a good start. It's not it's very general, so you're not gonna, it's like, so for example, when it's really general, it's more like water on a rock. It'll eventually get in, but it's general. So you're not going to get specifically for you. So it can only go so far. So it is better to see a hypnotherapist so you can actually go in and get into your own mind, right? But it's certainly a good start. It's certainly an introduction. It's for people that are maybe a little leery about stepping out right away. It's a good way to just begin.
So you can never hurt yourself if you're trying self-hypnosis or managing to do self-hypnosis on yourself. It's not anything that you could add more harm than good. So it is a positive process.
Yeah, absolutely.
I haven't tried it. I mean, I've relied on you.
Yeah. Yes,
Haven't
it's
tried it.
easier.
But I may one of these days. I just might go on YouTube. But my recommendation would really be, I think it's always better if you've got somebody as support, because usually with a guide as support,
Yeah.
everything works so much better. You're not
Well,
flailing around in the shrubbery,
yeah.
lost in the forest of your own depression or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah. 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 And you can feel taken care of, which is really important. I think when we're really struggling, we just need someone to just, hold our hands and feel like we're being taken care of. And I think that's what having a therapist really does too, right? It's
Mhm.
somebody who's
Mhm.
with you and, and saying, no, I'm here with you. I'm gonna, help. Yeah, and with the hypnotherapy, it's really is just letting, like when clients come to me for the first time and they're really anxious, it's just like, you just lay back in that chair and rest, and I'm going to take care of you for the next, 30, 45 minutes. You don't need to do a thing. And it's just such a blessing for them for that, right? So, and I know I've enjoyed that myself too. And I've gone to hypnotherapists and I've said, just help me. I don't want to do any work here. I just want to relax and have some support. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful feeling.
Counselors often have their own counselors. You talked about having a business coach. And I know that you've also mentioned in our conversations, you have a meditation, like a special meditation guide as well. Do you have someone that you go to periodically that helps you, does hypnosis on you or counsels you?
Not so much hypnosis only because I can go in very easily now, right? It's been years, so I can just tap into my own unconscious quite easily now. So I don't need the process of hypnosis so much. But yes, I have a therapist. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. My teacher is my therapist, right? And I see him depending on what's going on, but at least a couple times a year.
Mm.
And I'm always doing my own work, continuing to do my own work always. Like with friends, we'll get together, like fellow counselors, and we might do a weekend together and just, do our own work and turn in and,
Mhm.
do
So it's
maintenance.
an ongoing process, what we find here with growth, with self-development. It's not like you're fixing a tire on a car, you take it in, you get it fixed, there it is, it's done. You don't have to do anything with it. As human beings, I guess what I hear from you is that there is no fixing that's ever done. It's an ongoing process.
It can be. You can certainly go to a level, right? Where you're like,
Mhm.
I'm good, right? The level of things going on in my life I'm happy with, that's fine. And then there's those that just want to keep going because it's just, expansion, right? And growth and I mean, and then I think also taking in, for me, it's now a spiritual process for me, right? It's a spiritual practice. Therapy now is for me a spiritual practice.
Mhm. Mhm. I and for spiritual practice, that means you're looking for some higher being. What is exactly when people
Uh,
talk about spiritual
oh,
practices?
yeah, so good. No, for me, I'm looking for me in here,
Okay.
the part of me that is part of the higher being.
Yes, yeah.
So just trying to get rid of all the ego stuff and all of the attachments and
Mm,
all of those things that prevent me from truly feeling what I believe is my true self, which is spirit.
Mhm. So as we get ready to wrap up here, Karen, what is it? Any final words or thoughts you want to leave with people about counseling, about hypnosis, about hypnotherapy, about general directions of what people can strive for?
I think just, wherever you are in your life journey right now, wherever you're exactly where you need to be. I believe that. Any path you decide to take, there's going to be a benefit to it, even if it feels like, oh, well, that therapist, it didn't work. I went to them a couple times, didn't really work. There was something you got from that. Trust that. Trust yourself, your own intuition. I know I know that feels like trite, but we got it in here. Everybody knows. Everybody has a knowing, and it's uncovering all the stuff that gets in the way of that. But just wherever you are, just just know that wherever you are is where you are, and you've got to start there. You can't jump ahead either, right?
Start where you are, and if you need some support, know that there are all kinds of vehicles out there, all kinds of techniques for
Yeah.
support. Yeah, I find the whole idea of hypnosis, hypnotherapy quite fascinating. Especially from all the ideas growing up that we had about hypnosis and people acting stupid and being made to do things that they don't want to do, which are all untrue, right? I mean, you can act stupid if you want to,
Yeah, you can act stupid if you want to.
but
Yeah.
generally speaking, it's a guide to help us get inside of ourselves. And sometimes I'm amazed at all the stuff we have inside that sometimes we don't even know is there, that's basically been stopping us from moving forward, experiencing
Mhm.
something. And
Yep.
it's quite an amazing process. So I want to thank you so much, Karen, for being my guest today
Oh, you're
and
so
for
welcome.
and
My
for
honor.
sharing your insights all about hypnotherapy and hypnosis, and really that we can strive for a lot of things. And if we're happy the way we are, well, I mean, that's perfect. But if we want more, then hypnosis, hypnotherapy, going to a counselor is a great way to do it.
Yeah, there's no wrong way there.
Right. Okay, thank you so much to everybody out there and to Karen. This is Dorothea Hendriks wishing you and Karen mountains of success.